Hey everyone, my name is David Dunbar, or the Theme Park Evangelist. Well, it's now time to discuss my next chapter or topic on my high school days YouTube series. I am currently going over two different YouTube series. One's called My High School Dayz, spelled Dayz to attract attention to the YouTube video series, and the other one that I just decided to name a series is called The Rise and Fall. That's literally all it's called. And then I just pick a random Disney attraction because I absolutely love Disney. But if anybody would like me to start covering a Universal attraction, please comment underneath one of my Rise and Fall YouTube videos. Specifically, the newest one that I'm going to be posting, which is about the rise and fall of Maelstrom, what happened to it. And let me know if there's a Universal attraction you would like me to cover. And I would absolutely love to do some Universal attractions. Personally, if I had to pick anything, I have a coworker at the Ark Encounter. His name is TJ, and I'm not referring to TJ West down in Central Florida. I'm referring to TJ at the Ark Encounter. He's an older gentleman, and he is absolutely obsessed with Universal and Jaws for that matter. He is a huge fan of Jaws, and I know for a fact that he would love to hear me talk about the Jaws ride. And if he sees this video, I want him to please comment below and ask me to do a Jaws ride. Basically, I want him to ask me do a Rise and Fall YouTube series or video on Jaws. What happened to it? I would absolutely love to do it because I know quite a bit about the Jaws ride. I have rode on it quite a few times. I also know what replaced it and why it also got replaced. As sad as it is, a lot of these rides that got replaced over time, being a huge theme park fan, I know why they got replaced and roughly when they got replaced without even having to look it up. So, anyway, with that being said, let's get into this topic. So, about 3 years ago, I talked about why I absolutely love Skillet so much. And I was working at Publix at the time, and it was about a few months before I moved up to Kentucky. And I figured that it was, at least down in Central Florida, it was time for me to talk about why I love Skillet so much. Well, I'm wanting to talk more about it because Skillet has had a huge impact on my life, and I will be honest, if John Cooper or any of them could ever see any of my YouTube videos about Skillet, I would absolutely love for them to make an arrangement for me to ever meet them, but excuse me, at the same time, all I could think to myself is, well, if I don't meet them in this lifetime, I always can meet them in the next lifetime. Because I can tell you right now, I know 100% that they are believers because John Cooper is extremely outspoken about his faith, is the best word to use. So, that's why I'm so sure that I'm going to see him in heaven one day. But anyhow, there was one particular day I came into the sanctuary chapel that we always had our chapel services in, and my English teacher was blasting Monster by Skillet, and this was the very first Skillet song I ever heard. If this says anything at all, I mean, let's just look just for the fun of it and see when that album even came out. Think about it. Comatose was the very first album of theirs, and I want you guys just to take a guess. I'm not going to say anything for a second. I want you guys to think, what is my absolute favorite album? And don't say Awake and Alive because of the fact that it was the very first album I heard. Just take a guess. The album that I love the absolute best by Skillet came out in 2006. It's called Comatose. All of my favorite songs are on that album. On the other hand, though, the album obviously that I got introduced to, as I just said, was Awake and Alive, and the very first song that I obviously got introduced to was called Monster by Skillet. And it just kind of went from there. So I asked, "Oh, who is this?" And the BJ said to me, "Oh, I almost said the BJ. I was like, wait, what?" Anyway, BJ said to me, "Oh, this is Skillet." I was like, "Oh, who's Skillet?" And I started thinking, "Oh, you must be referring to like a skillet that you cook with." I mean, I'm sure anybody could think that, but I started listening to them a lot on my own, and I believe that I saw them for the very first time in 2012. Now, keep in mind that I got introduced to them back in 2010 or so. I'm very sure about this. Maybe 2011, but we're going to go with 2010 for now. And that gave me at least 2 years to get familiar with their content, as well as who they were. I saw them again at the end of 2013, but that's another story for another time. I will add that to my high school days, even though I technically had already graduated from high school, and it's only because I had only graduated recently from the high school, and also it's only because of the fact that BJ had made a partnership between the school and his church, and that's the only other reason why I got to go. But that will be the absolute last video that I will be discussing in my high school days, so just keep that in mind. It won't be my high school graduation, it will be that one, because that happened in September of 2013. And I graduated from high school in June of 2013. And also, ironically, I already got my license at that point, too. When I went to Night of Joy in 2013, if that says anything. And to think, in 2010, I didn't even know anything about driving at all yet. I was still walking to school at the time. And that's something else I would like to talk to you guys about. I mean, the only other thing I would like to talk to you guys about as far as Skillet goes is, I mean, yeah, you know how I got introduced to them, but I might as well go ahead and tell you how they've helped me out some more. I mean, you can hear more about that in my 2019 video, but I'm going to do a more in-depth look because of the fact that we're discussing my high school days. So let's go back all the way to 2004 or so. First of all, you guys should know that I was homeschooled between 1999 or so to about 2001. So my mom was my teacher for a couple of years or so. Back when she had time, she was working. I think she was working at an outside company for Disney called Kids Night Out when she first started homeschooling me. I don't remember if she was doing anything else at the time. And my brother was enlisted in a preschool program called, or at a school called St. John's. And I'm referring to a St. John's down in Winter Haven, Florida, which, ironically, that's the same exact school that my brother has played basketball at quite a few times. That was also his school's main or home basketball court, because at the time, Winter Haven Christian School didn't necessarily have a home basketball stadium or whatever. The school wasn't very big when it first started. Who knows if they have one now. Every time I go back, it looks about the same. So, Anyway, what I'm trying to get at is I was being homeschooled there. I remember my mom and I would set up camp in the corner somewhere, and then I always remember getting excited about bringing oatmeal cream pies to, or for like a snack or whatever. I always remember my mom saying, "Oh, you gotta have a snack now." I always got so excited about that. And I remember watching my brother graduate from preschool there. That was exciting. I believe I also had my kindergarten graduation there at one point as well, which is interesting. So, coincidence? Maybe. My mom, later on down the road, got a better job. She accepted a job as an elementary school teacher at a school called Hampton DeBose Academy, and that was out in Zellwood, Florida. And she decided to enlist both my brother and I in the same exact school. Well, my brother started out in kindergarten there, so my brother really couldn't help me back then. So I was kind of unfortunately left to fend for myself. And I really didn't want to bug my mom at the time, nor was I really old enough to really understand that I had disabilities, to be honest. I think I did know I had it at the time, but I don't honestly remember off the top of my head. If I knew at that time, I just know I was diagnosed when I was 8 years old. And I used to get picked on a lot. So the reason why I got picked on so much when I was going to elementary school, because I was in 4th and 5th grade when this all happened. In 4th grade, I had very bad autism. Probably about as bad as TJ's is now. And I also had really bad Tourette's syndrome at the time. And it was uncontrollable. Now, I admit I still have Tourette's up to a point, but I also have got it for the most part under control. Sometimes I do that every now and then. You might notice it very rarely, and you might start scratching my earhead going, "What the heck is he doing?" That kind of deal. Just ignore me. That's all I ask. And you probably do slightly notice my autism when I start speaking, because I do stutter quite a bit, and sometimes I just have a hard time kind of just thinking about what to say next. So sometimes I kind of say the same thing. So yeah, like I say that a lot. Just once again, ignore me. It bothers me when I do it, but I don't know if I bother anybody else either. Well, unfortunately, I was a victim of bullying at that school, and a lot of it went underneath my mom's nose, especially when she was driving my brother and I. How is she going to notice that my brother and I are embarrassing ourselves? First of all, when we were pulling up into the school parking lot, and my brother and I were using our imaginations in a way that was, let's just put it this way, not acceptable, not normal. I'm not saying it was inappropriate necessarily. It was just not socially acceptable. My mom, all she thought was, oh, David and Jonathan are just having a good old time back there. As long as they're having fun, that's all that matters. As long as they're not being inappropriate or anything, that's all that matters. Not realizing that what I was doing was not socially unacceptable. And the kids would see this and they would mock me, and then of course the word spread about what I was doing very quickly. And that was another reason why I got bullied so much. A lot of that stuff I do in private now. If I want to do stuff that's not exactly socially unacceptable, and I know a lot of us can relate, a lot of us probably think to ourselves, do I always have to do stuff that's socially acceptable? Well, that's why we have bedrooms, so we can close our doors and we can go do that kind of stuff. Behind closed doors, I know that some things that we do behind closed doors does not exactly honor God, but I can promise you right now that I do my absolute best to make sure that whatever I do, even behind closed doors, still honors God. But at the same time, even if we do stuff that does not exactly honor God, you need to make sure that you go to God about that. And that stays between you and God, and that's how I feel about it too. But yes, I admit that it's hard for me, even at age 28, to always try to be mature for everybody, even when I'm YouTubing. Sometimes I have to just have a little me time sometimes, and I've said this before on YouTube. I sometimes have to go just be my wacky, crazy self in private somewhere, or even away from my own family's eyes, because even sometimes I do stuff with my family's like, really? Really? That kind of deal. But that was something I didn't understand when I was younger. I didn't know where I could do it and when I could do it. I just thought I could do it whenever. So that's why I was bullied so much versus now. I know that there's a time and a place for everything. The Bible even teaches that. There's a time and a place for everything. And then it starts listing different stuff, and I've finally realized that. It took me years, but I finally realized that. And I'm sure anybody could get there. Like, honest. So, yeah, I finally got to middle school, and I was bullied there too, but not to the same extent that I was being bullied in elementary school. The biggest problem I honestly had with middle school, and at this point, this is when I had moved to Polk County, which is where I spent the next 14 years living, which was in Lake Wales, to be more specific, about 5 minutes away from the front entrance to Bok Tower Gardens. Also another 15 minutes away from former home of Legoland, Florida, which was Cypress Gardens, Florida. And then I also eventually got a job next door to Cypress Gardens, aka Legoland, at the public supermarkets right there, and I worked there for 6.5 years. My mom got a job as a kindergarten teacher at Winter Haven Christian School. She taught there for 13 years. So she didn't get a job there right away. We didn't even start going there right away. We actually lived in Lake Wales for an entire year before any of us even found right where to go. My mom worked at Calvary Baptist Church, and that's actually how we found out about the church. My mom found about it, I think, through a friend or something, or just on her own. She used to work there in the nursery, and because my brother and I were still too young to be left by ourselves, she used to take us with her quite often. Yes, it was very boring, trust me. I remember when we were younger, my mom was a little more fun, no offense. During the spring, my mom would treat us for waiting around patiently by taking us over to McDonald's and getting us Shamrock Shakes. I can tell you right now, when I was younger, I actually used to get more excited for fast food. Now I'm just kind of like, eh. It's just, I don't know what it is about being an adult. It's just not as exciting knowing whether you're going to go get fast food or not anymore. But I can tell you right now, when I was younger, I used to get so excited when we would jump on Highway 27 heading back to Lake Wales. And then I would see the golden arches coming up. I was like, please put on your return signal. And sometimes when he put on his return signal, sometimes fireworks were shooting off inside my mind. That just shows how crazy I am. I was like, that kind of deal. And then whatever, the car would keep driving on, because I never knew what was going on in my parents' mind. This was literally me, no, come back. You can tell I'm crazy. I mean, I'm not afraid to admit I'm pretty crazy. I can be a little crazy even for YouTube. There's some things I don't necessarily want to show you guys that I keep to myself, but there's a bit of crazy I don't even mind showing the public. But sometimes I feel like my ARC friends see a little too much crazy, and they just are like, why? I feel sorry for them that they have to put up with me so much. On Sundays they say, no, we're not. But Sundays they're like, yeah, we are kind of sorry. But anyhow, when I was also going to Winter Haven Christian School, I would say what I really struggled with more than anything was trying to just be socially accepted, to fit in. Honestly, any middle schooler feels that way, and that's when I first started developing crushes on girls. Like, okay, I did start to develop them in elementary school. Maybe that was a bit of a lie, or I just kind of forgot. I did forget back in elementary school. I did have a crush on two girls. Well, back in elementary school, the way I went about it was wrong. And, let's just put it this way. The teacher and I had a little talk afterwards. But in middle school, I accidentally scared them off, but at least it didn't send me to the principal's office or anything, or have me have a talk with the teacher afterwards. But one of the girl that I did have a crush on back in middle school, she did tell somebody who told me she actually would have liked me if I hadn't been so strong towards her. And then I developed another crush on another girl who might have stayed a stronger friend of mine if I hadn't come up, across as too strong on her. The reason why I struggled so badly just to be friends with females or whatever is because I was trying too hard versus now I found the perfect balance. I know how to be friendly towards a female without necessarily scaring them away. I've also learned how to read body language. I also know, like, let's just say, for example, I like somebody at work. I'm not necessarily going to say whether I do it or not, because I don't want to say something that could get me in trouble. So if I approach that person and I say to that person, hey, I was wondering if you would like to go do something with me after work sometime. Would that be interested? Would you be interested in doing that? And I get like, no, I'm not really interested. I immediately back off. I may not necessarily talk to that person again. And trust me, that's going to be really hard if I really like that person. But I now know that person is definitely not interested in me. But if there's a girl that I talk to at work, say for example, Caitlin, who does enjoy talking to me, even though she's married, we still talk every single day, and I still enjoy giving her hugs just as much as she enjoys giving me hugs. And she's somebody that I know I can talk to on a daily basis, no matter what. And whenever I do talk to her, I can be personal with her as well. But if I don't get a response back from her, sometimes I can message a little too much. And sometimes I have to tell myself, maybe, David, you need to back off a little bit. But sometimes that's just stuff that's going on in my head. There are some people at the Ark that don't necessarily care if I message them a whole bunch. They may not necessarily be able to respond right away. I can usually tell at work who doesn't care if I message them a whole bunch and who would care. And I can tell you right now, there are people at the Ark who would care if I message them a little too much. And those are the people I don't tend to talk to that much anyhow. And even if I do, I literally would only speak to them at work anyhow. And I always keep my conversations limited. I'm always watching for body language. I'm always watching for some kind of signal that they're done talking to me. That was stuff I never had the ability to do in elementary school nor middle school. And that's why I did not only did I not have a lot of friends, but I also couldn't get along with females whatsoever. If this says anything about how bad the bullying was, I had a friend back in elementary school who reached out to me and invited me to Fun Spot. Honestly, if I was any more emotional, I would have cried, because I had never been invited anywhere. And this was back in 4th grade. And I don't even remember how long I had known Dustin for, but let's just put it this way. He was the only person at that school who actually took the time to reach out to me and invite me to do something. And, looking back, it shocks me how only one person at that school reached out to me and actually invited me to do something. Versus, it seems like I'm always being invited somewhere. Volleyball, board game nights, Kings Island, you name it, tea time. It's crazy. I'm always being invited everywhere. I can't always say yes. Usually I have to say no. I'm always being invited to volleyball night every single Saturday, but I try to keep Saturday nights open in case A, I'm tired, B, I get asked to work late for whatever reason, and C, I would prefer to go tea time anyhow because as Sam Imperato put it, he likes tea time to be a great fellowship time, but he also wants it to be focused on God too. And I would rather go and spend time with my culinary friends from the Ark and spend time in God's Word, even if it's until 10 o'clock at night, bring it on, than go and play volleyball. Even if it's with people I don't know. I mean, I can't stress this enough. I am very flattered and appreciated that I'm always being invited to volleyball night every single Saturday. But Saturdays are a rough night for me to go. If it was any other night, I might say yes. But Saturday... And next Saturday, I definitely can't go because I'm in Canada. I've also noticed that this volleyball night is always in Crittenden, which is about halfway between the Ark and halfway between me, too. But the only reason why I wanted to ramble on so much about my past leading up to high school is because I wanted you guys to understand everything I went through. And when I listen to Skillet, it brings me a peace. It reminds me that God is always there with you. Like this, say for example, the song "Sick of It." There's a lot of things I'm sick of that happened in my past, especially just before I moved to Florida. Moved from Florida. There are so many things that happened just before I moved away that I'm so sick of, but I've got to literally just release my fists and just release it to God. That's basically what he's trying to say in his song. And I said that about 3 years ago. I'm saying it again now. Anything you're sick of, just go ahead and release it to God, because God is the only one who can release you from all those things. I'm so passionate about this YouTube video. I'm going to make it my headliner YouTube video tonight. I know that my Kings Island vlog has been my headliner YouTube video for a whole week now, because the 50th was literally a week ago. But I really want you guys to spend the next week or whatever just checking out this YouTube video tonight that talks about how Skillet has made such an impact on my life. And basically, I'm going to also... I'm trying to think of the perfect title. Give me 1 second. Okay, I think I got it now. How about My High School Dayz? How listening to Skillet helps me get over years of being bullied. I kind of like that. Oh man, that was a hard one. I really wanted a good title. Sometimes I can think of a good title while I'm vlogging, and sometimes I forget what I said during my vlog, and then I end up coming up with a better one anyway after I vlog it. But considering I want to go ahead and upload this to YouTube tonight before I head off to Florence 14 to see Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, I figured that since I'm already getting near the end of my vlog, go ahead and come up with a title now. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for your patience as I spent the past 30 minutes just being passionate about how Skillet has made such an impact on my life. And I pray and hope that this will not just bring tears to your eyes, but will help you to know that anybody and anything can have an impact on your life. And Skillet being a Christian group has really helped me strengthen my faith in God, and has also helped me to be, or led me to who I am now. And there was just another piece of Candelight Christian Academy that I wanted you guys to see inside of me. Until then, I will see you guys in the next vlog. And always remember, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Have a great night. Peace out.